Welcome to Mental Health Momentum, a Silicon Slopes podcast. I am Dr. David Morgan. I am a licensed psychologist and the Director of Mental Health Awareness here at Silicon Slopes. And on this podcast, we talk about mental health issues in business and beyond, and we look for solutions as well. I'm really happy for my guest today, Brenda Betteridge. Did I get the last name right?
You did. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
This has been a long time coming. Brenda and I have talked for a long time about eventually getting together to do this podcast. I've had the pleasure of being able to interact with her in a number of different events, and so it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, finally.
Yes. Let me tell you about Brenda. She is a dedicated professional with over 20 years experience of transforming ideas into impactful outcomes. Her expertise spans business development, event planning, and strategic program management with a passion for building meaningful connections and driving success for individuals and organizations. As a business development manager at Utah Valley University, Go Wolverines,
Yeah.
she thrives on creating innovative strategies and fostering strong partnerships that enhance UVU's professional education programs. Brenda's journey is one of resilience and adaptability. She was born in Salt Lake City and raised in Alpine, Utah. She married her sweetheart at 19 years old, but became a widow at 32. Navigating life as a single mother of 3 young boys for 8 years, she faced profound challenges that shaped her perspective before remarrying. Just as she and her husband became empty nesters, they embraced parenthood again, welcoming their 8-month-old granddaughter into their home and raising her as their own. With children in K through 12 from 1987 to 2023.
Oh,
wow.
Yes.
That's a long time. Brenda's life has been a testament to dedication and lifelong learning. Now, as she pursues her own education, she finds joy in attending college classes alongside her grandkids, proving that learning has no age limit. And beyond her career, Brenda thrives on connection, whether through public speaking, collaboration, or mentoring. She is always eager to innovate, explore new opportunities, and help others succeed. Whether leading programs, fostering relationships, or tackling her next big project, Brenda brings creativity, strategy, and an unwavering passion for making a difference. And I say amen to all that because I know those things about you, Brenda, and those are all true.
It's a long one.
And it's a good one. I love it. Well, tell us a little bit about your kind of interest in mental health, because this is a mental health focused podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you interested, like either personally or experiences with others?
It all began because I thought I didn't have any mental health issues in my life. And then I started looking back thinking, oh, wait a minute, my whole life is just one big mental health issue. But it's all about learning how to embrace your issues and coming out on the other side and helping other people if you can with that.
Yeah. We were just talking before the podcast about just different challenges that you faced professionally and how your solution to it has just been to embrace it, just to say, you know what, right now, this is the hand that I've been dealt and I'm going to make the best of it. And we'll see what hand I have next week, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one up them, it's like you say, I need to do this. Okay, I'll do that and one better. So.
And that really is such a healthy attitude to approach problems, because oftentimes either we just become easily overwhelmed by what's going on, or we spend a lot of emotional energy in just wanting things to be different. Like you say, you get the hand you have, and then you say, well, I don't like that hand, and so I'm going to complain and wish that it were different. And that uses up emotional energy. And we only have a limited amount of emotional energy any given day. So if you use up 80% of that bemoaning your circumstance, that only leaves 20% to actually manage your circumstance.
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because for a while I was in an abusive relationship. And when I got out of it, he still occupied about 75% of my brain space. And when I finally just said, he doesn't deserve that much space in my brain, it changed everything about my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's the emotional equivalent of getting like a 400% raise or something, and all of a sudden you have all these resources that you didn't have before, and that you can allocate. I love that. And I think a lot of people find themselves in a similar circumstance, either having been the victim of something or just having been in a negative circumstance, and that occupies a lot of brain space. Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier about how you said the brain doesn't forget, right? These memories just kind of get lodged in there. Although the brain is an excellent recorder of information, we can manage it. We can tell it what to put where and how much we can focus on it and those sorts of things.
It's amazing how that works, how you can do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't necessarily know that. You mentioned just a few minutes ago, just how your own experiences can become a way to kind of help others as well. So just talk a little bit about that, like your journey, and how has that empowered you to be helpful to others that are going through their own kind of difficult journey?
As I was thinking about this, because you sent me the questions early, and I'm like, okay, I get to think about them. One of the very first things that impacted my life and my mental health journey is growing up poor in a town that wasn't poor.
Mm.
And so you have a lot of people who know you because it's a small town.
That was in Alpine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But people take pity on you. Mm. And I didn't want people's pity. They thought they needed to invite me over to teach me how to clean a house or how to cook a dinner. And I'm like, I don't need that. Thank you very much. And so I decided I didn't ever want my kids to feel that. And so I got married pretty young. And at a young age, 32, I became a widow and was raising my kids by myself. And I decided, I made the conscious choice to not remarry for quite some time. I found myself, though, being that person that everybody called and said, hey, my friend just lost her husband. Can she call you? And tell her that, will you tell her that everything is okay and that it's normal to feel what she's feeling? And so that kind of gave my life a little bit of, I don't want to say purpose, because I still had boys that I was raising.
Sure.
I mean, they were just 6, 9, and 12 when he passed away. But
added purpose, like an additional purpose.
Well, and it gave me something else to focus on, not just wondering, why is my first grader sitting in the trash can underneath the teacher's desk? Do I need to worry about that? It gave me reason to say, is he hurting anyone?
Right.
No, he's not. Okay, then just leave him there, And so it kind of gave me the idea that I could help people. And so ever since then, it's just kind of been my mantra. It's after being in the abusive relationship, I encourage people, if they knew someone, I can recognize the signs, because when you've been in it, you know the signs. And if you can see them, sometimes you can help someone also see the signs. You may not be able to help them get out of it,
sure,
but they can at least recognize the signs.
And then that might give them it gives them a space to be able to do something about it, whether they do something or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're in that situation, oftentimes you feel like you're alone and you're the only one going through that particular situation. And it's just nice to know that you're not alone.
I have to think, for as many people who have lived on earth and as many people who are here right now, and for us to think that we are the only person going through something is like mathematically, it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone that has at least shared a portion of our experience. Maybe not exactly the same experience, but the big things that define it, like betrayal or trauma or sadness or whatever it is, the things that we struggle with, we have so much in common with so many people. And I think so this idea that we're just going through it alone, it doesn't have to be that way, because guaranteed there is someone probably close that is going through something that is largely similar to what you're experiencing.
Well, and it's you often want to isolate yourself because you feel like nobody else will understand. And so you do place this unintended isolation on yourself. And when you find out that there are other people, you join a club that you don't necessarily ever think that you would want to join, but here you are. Right. You're in this club, but there are other people in the club too, and they're there to help you.
Yeah. It's almost maybe that you don't even want to be in the club.
No, you don't. Nobody wants to be in those clubs.
Yeah, exactly. Our oldest granddaughter has a neurological condition that it's a chromosomal defect, but anyway, it ends up manifesting looking a lot like autism. And our son and daughter-in-law were hesitant to get her diagnosed for that because they just didn't want, because when she was young, you could see some signs, but now she's almost 5 now, and so it's very, very clear. But there was kind of a hesitation, like, do we want to put this label? Do we want to acknowledge? Maybe it's just a phase she's going through. She has significant epilepsy as well, so she's having seizures quite often. But when we all could just kind of finally figured, you know what? This is Rigby, and this is just the way that she is. It's opening the door to so many things, to so many therapies and other things where she can get assistance. And she's learned to communicate through, different ways than speaking and that. And so it's remarkable. I think once we finally say, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, and that's okay. Let me find a way to get help from that when you join the club, basically. So I guess we don't have to worry about joining the club, right? It's okay to join the club.
Well, you automatically are there, whether you like it or not.
That's right. You're a dues-paying member. You're just not going to the meetings, right?
Exactly.
That's so true. I wanted to ask a little bit about your experience in education, because how long have you been at UVU?
I've just been there for 3 years, but I was with Nebo School District for 10 years before that.
So long history of kind of educational experience. Mental health in the school setting. I mean, it's an issue. Yes,
it definitely is. And I think the reason that it's an issue, in part, I'm not going to say all of it, is because we kind of play lip service to helping our students. You know, we do the same thing we've always done. And they always say, if you do the same thing you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Right.
And so I think we need to start thinking outside the box when it comes to our kids' mental health, because there are so many different things that we can do. And it would be a hard change for a lot of educators to embrace these ideas. But there's some really great ideas out there. I threw it into ChatGPT. I said, give me some unique, different, fun, cool ideas that they could use in high school and then in the college arena. And some of the ideas, when I looked at them, I'm like, wow, and most of them aren't going to cost a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's not the typical, well, oh, you're feeling that way, you probably ought to go talk to a counselor. I think counselors are great and they have their place, but sometimes a kid just needs a quiet place.
Yeah.
They just need to decompress. And if that means it's a corner of the library where they can put some headphones on and not be bothered, and the teachers won't even go looking for them and I hate to think that kids would abuse that.
Sure.
It would happen, but at the same time, it'd
probably help more people than it would.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. But there's so many different ideas now that aren't just the normal stay home because you're sick. How about stay home and create a mental health day before you get sick?
Right. I love that. And you're right. I think that we need just more flexible approaches, right? Because mental health is on a continuum. Everything from something that needs a diagnosable condition that needs to be treated by a credentialed professional, all the way to just having a bad day, just feeling a little anxious or feeling a little depressed or something. And so it's like, if our only solution is go talk to the mental health counselor, then not only, number one, they're going to be overwhelmed with every single kid or youth that has to go in and talk to them. Number two, there's still a stigma associated with that, with the youth, that you have to go see a counselor, and that might even exacerbate what they're feeling because now they have to go see that.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying, if you get sick, the only solution is surgery. Or if you're sick, go see the surgeon.
Yeah.
Well, no, we don't say that. If we stay sick, we'll go talk to a doctor or a PA and figure out what's going on. And it could be, she might say, well, just go get some rest.
Yeah.
And that's all you need. Or she might say, let's get you a surgery consult right now because there might be something seriously wrong with you.
Exactly.
Maybe we just need better triage or something with that.
Well, and I think that our teachers also need to take a little bit more proactive approach, because when my daughter was in 5th grade, she had a friend, her very good friend, texted her and said, I hope you crawl in a hole and die. We took that to the teacher, we took that to the principal, and nothing was done.
Wow.
Not a single thing. She didn't even get called into the principal's office to have a talk about it. And I think that if those kind of things get swept under the rug, it's no wonder why we have some mental health issues and why we need to find new ways to address them.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, it's happening at the post-secondary level as well, right? I mean, college students are struggling with mental health like never before. It may be a little different at that level because they're just a little more mature, and so they might be able to talk about it a little better than a 14-year-old could. But even then, it's tough.
They still don't want to.
I know.
There's that stigma, and that's, when with Promise to Live, we always talk about stop the stigma and start the conversation, because we've got to take that stigma away from saying it's not a good thing to admit when you have, we need to be able to admit when we're feeling that way, and it's hard because there's just a super fine balance that you try to walk. And college kids not only have the regular day-to-day stuff, but they're worrying about finances, and they're worrying about grades that are going to count towards whether they're going to get a good job or not. And we need to have more for them, just like we do in the high schools and the junior highs. There needs to be alternative options.
Right. Just to help them figure out ways forward. And in most cases, they can. I think that the youth of today are highly resilient, especially considering what some of them have gone through, and the fact that they're just like walking around, doing things, they shouldn't be, considering all the trauma they've been through, but they still are. And I think that's just a testament to their ability to move past things. But they need some direction. They need options more than just, like you said, this dichotomous thing of either you're totally fine or you need to talk to the mental health counselor, right? There could be a dozen things, a dozen gradations in between there that we could help with that. What do you think about like technology and social media and how that's impacted? Because I know you're big on social media.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
No, it's good because they put me on an influencer group. There's 4 of us from UVU that we're now the influencers.
Okay.
So,
so how does it, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on how it can be used like more responsibly? Is there, because it's definitely affecting the mental health of our youth. I mean, there's just study after study that has demonstrated that to this point.
Well, it's not even the youth that it's affecting.
That's so true.
I think, oh, I've got to get on LinkedIn and I need to update, but I don't want to see what everybody else is doing because I haven't been able to do anything, and it's just, if we could just somehow separate who we are from our social media, and it was just social. It doesn't have anything to do with who you really are. It's just telling people, hey, this was kind of cool, or hey, I found this cool article, or, just here's something that might help you because it helped me. If we could separate it somehow, but our kids are so heads down into the electronics and the social media that it's scary sometimes. And honestly, I don't have a solution for that. I wish I did. I should have put it into chat.
That's right. Ask a chatbot how to solve technology, social media problems.
I know, right? Yeah, it's like I said, I need to name my chat GPT because I use her so much. And then I'm like, what should I name her? Oh, okay, I'll put that into chat and see what she says. So I don't even think for myself anymore sometimes, it feels like.
I agree. I think that it's a complex problem and it's going to require complex solutions. But I do think that maybe one of the more simple ideas is just like you were saying, just kind of reinforcing that sense of identity, that we're just okay with who we are, flaws in everything. I think we have this idealized version of ourselves that we never live up to, right? Because we're always making that comparison. Just like you said, you don't want to go on there because there's things you should have put on there, all these shoulds and musts and other kind of these falsely imposed imperatives that we put on ourselves. But then we think everyone else has just got it completely sewn up, that they're living their perfect best life.
That's what they put out there.
And that's what they put out there. And even when they put out there something that's a little less than, we still think, well, they were just having a bad day. They're not like me, and I have a bad day every day. It's a fascinating thing that I think almost affects people universally. And the solution is not on the outside. The solution is on the inside, for us to just say, I am okay with who I am and where I'm going. And I want to be better, and that's fine. But for today, that I'm okay. We were discussing this earlier too. Some days just putting one foot in front of the other is all you can do. And that's a win for that day.
It is, and it's interesting because there are so many, such a variety of resources for kids or adults to get their idea of what's normal. When I was growing up, it was the Brady Bunch. That's what I compared myself to. It's like, I just want to walk in the house and be able to step down into a sunken living room and have really cool hair like Marsha or Jan. And, and that was about the only thing because we had 3 channels on our TV and it was black and white. And now there's thousands of options. Yeah. And so you can compare yourself to anything or anybody that you want. You just pick, and then you can feel good or you can feel bad, depending on what you pick. So.
Yeah. So true. Yeah, I thought maybe I'd be an architect too, like Mike Brady.
I know.
What he's doing. We never got a housekeeper though, so we're still.
You never had Alice?
No, never had Alice. No.
Shoot.
Well, let's talk about this. What do you think we can do to kind of reduce the stigma surrounding mental health? and promoting solutions. What's the, not the best way, but what are some ideas?
I think starting the conversations. So many people are afraid. Like you said, there's a stigma, but not just a stigma, they're afraid to even say the words mental health or suicide or depression, because it labels you. And nobody wants to be labeled as being a weirdo.
Right.
And so I think it has to start at a really young age where kids feel like they can talk to their parents, because sometimes parents just don't have time.
Right.
And we need to make time for our kids because they're just getting lost. Some of them, I'm not going to say all of them. There are some kids who are so resilient and so smart and so far ahead of their time. They're like a grandpa in a 6-year-old body. But I think we just need to open up the lines of communication. That's the only way to stop the stigma, is if everybody's talking about it.
Right.
Then it's not a big deal anymore. It's not that hush hush quiet thing anymore.
Right. It becomes normalized, right? Because then if people realize that a lot of people are having the same experience, then at some point, I think it probably tips the scales, and it's like, well, then this is just kind of a normal experience. It's not an abnormal experience. The other thing I think is just education, helping people understand what mental health really is, how it affects us. You talked about people being afraid of being labeled. I was teaching at a event the other day, and was talking about mental health diagnoses. And I said, one of the myths is that if you get a mental health diagnosis, that it sticks and is permanent. Like, this is not true. Like 95 to 98% of mental health diagnoses are literally temporary. They're designed to be temporary. It's like you're going through this, and overwhelmingly the ones that are most often diagnosed, the depression and anxiety diagnoses, they're all temporary. You might have panic disorder for a while, and then you might not have it for a while after that. You might have it for a long time also, but it's not like a brand, that, seared into your flesh that you have this condition, but people see it that way. And I think that's part of the experience. If it were as normal as if I have a sniffle, I reach for a Kleenex, then I'm like, well, yeah, that's okay. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a sniffle. Now I'm a sniffler, and I'm branded as a sniffler.
You're in that corner.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm with all these weirdos that sniff all the time, but I can just have a sniffle, and that's fine. And it might last for a while, or it might go away, once I blow my nose. And mental health is literally like that. Like we were talking about, from the most kind of innocuous things that kind of causes discomfort to extreme things that can cause significant disruption. But if we don't understand that, if we think that everything is just super serious, that's bad too,
It is. And I think we have to get out of ourselves. We have to get out of our own way and find something that takes us down a different path, rather than that I feel sorry for myself. And, I work at UVU, so of course I'm going to talk about education. And I think lifelong learners are probably some of the most stable, well adjusted people, because they're constantly learning new things and they don't just get stuck in that rut. And just like you're always trying to teach people, you want people to know more, and you don't want them to be stuck in that rut. And that's what at Professional Ed, that's what we do, is we offer these kind of courses that just get people outside of themselves, whether it's learning about AI and ChatGPT, or learning about women's leadership, or just about anything. As long as you keep your brain going and you are outside of your head, I think that's where a lot of the answers are going to come, is just doing something different.
Right. Well, and it goes back to what you said earlier about kind of doing the same thing over and over again, and getting the same result. Because if there's no new input to the system, if there's no new information or education, then we're going to work with what we have, and we probably will continue to get the same results. But I love that comment about lifelong learners, and it makes total sense that they would have kind of better like emotional adjustment and resilience, because they're constantly getting new information, which is then shaking up the way that they view life and the way they perceive the world, because now they have extra data. Like, well, this is something I didn't understand before. And so then that changes their perception about something. I've had people that I've talked to, and I've explained what I consider to be a very simple mental health concept, and it just blows their mind because they'd never heard it before. And it completely transforms the way that they do things. And so I'm guessing there's just a lot of information out there. Like you said, getting outside of ourselves, kind of breaking free of the way that we just perceive the world and saying, let's just try to get more information, more data.
Yeah. I was going through the last days of my dad's life with him last summer. And I was also in school I'm working on my degree. And so I took a class that was so far out of my comfort zone, but it took me so far out of my own head. I did a paint your car class. And I painted a little replica of a Mustang pedal car. It was a Mustang pedal car from when Mustang came out. So I could give it to my dad because he gave it to me when I was 3. And it was so cathartic for me. It was just because it was something to do that wasn't sitting at his bedside wondering what's going on. And I learned so much. I learned how to use a sandblaster and, but just things like that where if you can find something different and new that challenges your brain in a different direction, I think it's going to take your mind off of all of these, not all of them. And it's not the be-all, end-all solution to everything, but it gives you a temporary reprieve, I think.
And it's a step in the right direction for sure. So, well, Brenda, thank you so much for sharing those thoughts, your experience and your wisdom. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Do something different, right?
Do something different.
Yeah, get out there and do something different.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for listening today. Remember that change starts with you, and together we can increase our mental health momentum.